My dear friends, my name is Jacob Fiveash, and welcome to Uncaged Zoo Tours. If you are new to the channel and love animals, I recommend and appreciate you hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icons to join me on my tours. I am honored to announce that I finally reached 100 tours. To celebrate, we're heading back to the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C. To recap, we went to the Asia Trail and saw sloth bears, a clouded leopard, a fishing cat, and Asian small-clawed otters. We also learned about the zoo's history with giant pandas. Our second tour is a very in-depth look at the small mammal house. This exhibit is one of my favorites at the Smithsonian National Zoo because it has over 30 different animals, many of which will be animals that I never talked about before. Let's begin. Going inside the building, our first animal is our first Przewalski squirrel. Unlike other squirrels, they do not hibernate, but they do rest in hollow trees or nests made of leaves and twigs. They will also wrap their tails around themselves to stay warm. Przewalski squirrels also make a trilling sound whenever they feel excited or scared. Following a northern tree shrew is a golden-headed lion tamarin. Like other tamarins, they move around like squirrels, and like squirrels, golden-headed lion tamarins use their tails for balance. It's like using your arms when walking across a balance beam. Then there's our first screaming hairy armadillo. Unlike the three-banded armadillo, which we will see later, the screaming hairy armadillo makes a loud squealing noise to startle predators. Like other armadillos, they are part of a group of mammals called xenarthians, which also consist of anteaters and even sloths. Screaming hairy armadillos live in the Monte Desert in South America, and they can eat a lot of sand. They don't need to drink a lot of water because they get their hydration from the plants they eat. Screaming hairy armadillos can burrow into carcasses to find insects, and even have a unique way of digging. They will force their heads into the ground to make a hole. Then the armadillo will turn around in a circle to make the hole into a cone shape. Another desert dweller is the fennec fox. Fennec foxes may be the world's smallest wild dog, but they have huge ears. Their ears help locate underground prey and remove body heat when it's hot. A fennec fox's fur helps them stay warm on cold nights and provides great camouflage against the desert sand. Fennec foxes also have thick fur on their paws, so they can avoid getting burnt and provide traction. Then there are some rock hyraxes. Even though they look like rodents, rock hyraxes are more closely related to elephants and manatees because they all share a common ancestor that lived 50 million years ago. Like elephants, hyraxes have sensitive feet, which they use to climb rocks. Let's come back to tails. Like this prehensile-tailed porcupine, the Virginia opossum has a prehensile tail, which can be used to grab onto things. Opossums defend themselves by playing dead because most animals prefer not to eat something that's already dead. Opossums don't have to worry about being bitten by a rattlesnake because they are immune to rattlesnake venom. A snake may bite the opossum, but in the end, the opossum wins. Virginia opossums are also one of the few marsupials, or mammals, who carry their babies in their pouches, who live outside of Australia. Next, I would like to introduce you to the southern tamandua, a relative of the giant anteater. Unlike their giant anteater cousins, the tamandua prefers to live in trees. When they feel threatened, tamanduas will stand up on their hind legs and use their powerful claws to defend themselves. At 91 degrees Fahrenheit or 33 degrees Celsius, tamanduas have one of the lowest body temperatures of any mammal. Tamanduas can eat up to 9,000 insects in one day, and their mouths are only the size of a pencil eraser. But these guys have no teeth, so they swallow their food whole. Like a skunk, tamanduas can also release a stinky smell from their anal glands, which is 4 times stinkier than a skunk spray. Because of their huge claws, tamanduas walk on the sides of their paws instead. Our next animal is from Australia. the brush-tailed bettong, also known as a brush-tailed rat kangaroo or wily. Bettongs look like rats, but they are actually marsupials, mammals that carry their babies in their pouches. Bettongs rarely drink water or eat green plants, but their tail is prehensile. A bettong can dig 38 to 115 holes in a single night. That's like using a bulldozer to dig a hole to put in a pool. Following this chinchilla and a sandcat are some of the cutest mammals in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the nakedmolerats. These little rodents have little hair between their toes that act like brooms to sweep away dirt. Aside from that and their whiskers, nakedmolerats don't have hair, but they still are mammals. The word mammal comes from mammary glands that help female animals produce milk for their babies. Speaking of babies, a baby nakedmolerat can weigh less than a penny when it's born. Unlike most mammals, nakedmolerats cannot maintain a steady body temperature and must sleep belly up and packed together like sardines to stay warm. While mice can live up to 18 months, the nakedmolerat has the longest lifespan of any rodent, as they can live up to 30 years in captivity. The Smithsonian National Zoo has two nakedmolerat exhibits, one for younger nakedmolerates and another for older nakedmolerats in their 30s. A nakedmolerat has powerful jaws and big teeth to chew through soil and food. In fact, their teeth are on the outside of their mouth so that they don't accidentally swallow any dirt. Across from the nakedmolerats are some red-ruffed lemurs. Unlike some of the other animals I talked about earlier, red-ruffed lemurs use their tails for balance. The next exhibit has golden lion tamarins, another animal that uses their tail for balance. They live with a green aracari. Unlike the toko toucan, green aracaris have a serrated beak. Sometimes they will take over an abandoned woodpecker hole high up in the trees to raise a family. The aracari and tamarins live with a Linnaeus's two-toed sloth. At one point, the Smithsonian National Zoo had a two-toed sloth that lived for 49 years and was the oldest two-toed sloth in captivity. The average lifespan for a two-toed sloth is 16 years in human care. Sloths spend most of their lives in the trees, and the only time they might need to come down to the ground is to use the bathroom, which is once a week. We'll get to see two more active sloths when we visit the Wildlife Explorers Base Camp at the world-famous San Diego Zoo. But when we visit the Dallas World Aquarium, we'll see our first three-toed sloth. The next two exhibits contain a red-rumped agouti and a white-faced saki, followed by some three-banded armadillos. These armadillos protect themselves by rolling up into a ball. Some armadillo species can't do this because they have too many bony plates in their shells. Three-banded armadillos can also hide in abandoned anteater dens. Next, there's our first black-footed ferret. These ferrets are one of the most endangered mammals in North America. Because of habitat destruction and plague, the black-footed ferret was thought to be extinct in the wild, until a small population was found in Wyoming in 1981. The Smithsonian National Zoo has played a big role in saving black-footed ferrets. They are home to the first cloned black-footed ferret to successfully give birth, and over 1,000 black-footed ferrets have been born here. Black-footed ferrets love to eat prairie dogs. They arch their backs and hop backward with their mouths open. This wrestling display is called the ferret dance. There's also our first dwarf mongoose. Dwarf mongooses will hang out with hornbills. The mongooses will eat any unwanted guests like insects or rodents, while the hornbills will serve as lookouts, warning the mongooses of any nearby predators. Then there's a Goldie's marmoset and another southern tamandua. The next exhibit contains a mob of slender-tailed meerkats. Back in May 2023, the zoo welcomed the birth of 3 meerkat pups, which were the zoo's first meerkat pups born in 16 years. One member of the mob will stand guard, while the others look for food. At the end of its shift, the meerkat on guard will call another meerkat to take over. The sentry will sound warning barks to alert the others if a predator is nearby. On the other hand, Older meerkats teach meerkat pups to catch prey. Speaking of prey, meerkats are known to eat venomous snakes and scorpions without getting hurt, as they are immune to their venom. Then is the building's fourth tamarin, our first bearded emperor tamarin. These little monkeys have curly mustaches, and the Smithsonian National Zoo is home to two males, Fleck and Poe. Both male and female emperor tamarins have mustaches. Unlike most monkeys, they normally give birth to twins. The reason why emperor tamarins have different hairstyles compared to other tamarins is because it helps them stand out. Plus, if Fleck and Poe were in the wild, they would partner up with other tamarin species to watch out for predators. The next two primates live in two nocturnal exhibits. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time since my jungle trails at the Cincinnati Zoo Tour, I would like to introduce you to the pygmy slow loris. What is a loris? Lorises aren't monkeys or apes. Instead, they belong to a group of primates called prosimians, a group of primates that also consist of lemurs and tarsiers. Slow lorises have a long and flexible torso to move around from branch to branch. They are also the world's only venomous primate. Slow lorises have sweat glands near their wrists that allow them to secrete venom. When it's threatened, the loris will lick these glands, spreading the venom to its teeth. The venom is so strong that it can cause allergic reactions and slow wound healing. However, the slow loris uses this defense against predators, rival lorises, and parasites. A slow loris has great vision, even in the dark. However, bright lights can cause them to become distressed. In April 2024, the zoo's lorises gave birth to twins, a male and female named Zuko and Azula. Another primate who I haven't talked about in a while is the southern lesser galgo, also known as the Maholi bushbaby. Say hello to Mapani and Damara. Bushbabies have the largest ears relative to their size than any other primate. Their ears can move independently. They also have a gross habit called urine washing, where they urinate on their hands and feet to communicate, groom, and even help improve their climbing. Bushbabies are little stinkers, but the real stinker of this area is the striped skunk. The zoo is home to two brothers, Pigpen and Sauerkraut. Skunks will use their tails as a form of communication to warn predators to not get too close, or else they will be sprayed with a stinky odor. But this odor comes from stink glands at the base of the tail. Skunks will spray the stinky odor from their tail only when they feel threatened. Don't worry, my friends. Pigpen and Sauerkraut had their stink glands removed, so it's safe for everyone to see them. If you get sprayed by a skunk, one of the best ways to get rid of the stink is using baking soda and dish soap and scrubbing it on your body multiple times. Tomato juice may mask the stink, but it doesn't get rid of it. If you want to learn more about skunks, please refer to my Florida Wildlife Center at Zoo Tampa tour. Then, there's our first lesser hedgehog tenrec. What is a tenrec? They may look like hedgehogs, but tenrecs are more closely related to elephants, aardvarks, and manatees. There are 36 different species of tenrecs, and they all live on the island of Madagascar. Like hedgehogs, lesser hedgehog tenrecs roll up into a ball to protect themselves. Some tenrecs have the most babies of any mammal, with up to 32 babies at once. Our last animals are right outside. Say hello to our first Przewalski's horses. Like other horses, Przewalski's horses use their tails to swat pesky flies away. But unlike other horses, they shed their manes annually. Przewalski's horses are the only true wild horses, as they are found in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. However, mustangs, which are also considered wild horses, were ancestors of domesticated horses. Thanks to hunting, habitat loss, and military conflict, the Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild. That meant they could only be found in captivity. However, breeding these horses in zoos prevented them from becoming extinct or completely died out. The breeding worked so well that the Przewalski's horse was then labeled as endangered, which means there's still a lot of work to be done to save them. All Przewalski's horses alive today are descendants of 14 horses that were caught in the wild between 1910 and 1960. And that officially wraps up our in-depth 100th tour. This was one of our biggest adventures yet, and I would highly recommend visiting the Small Mammal House if you have children. They will love seeing these lesser-known animals. Besides, this exhibit was the main highlight of my trip, and I had lots of fun filming it. When we return to Washington, D.C., we'll take a quick and historic look at the elephant trails, where we'll learn about the zoo's history with Asian elephants. Today's question is, now that I've done 100 tours, which one was your favorite and why? Thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. You're smart, creative, and kind. Here's to another 100 tours.